I'm beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Hey, welcome to another episode. If you do enjoy this video, consider giving it a like, as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. Last time we fought each other with robots, and this time we're... oh man. Game number 30, Get or Love, Chō Renai Party Game Tanjō. This is a Japanese exclusive game released in 1998, both developed and published by Hudson Soft. I think it translates to Panda Love Unit, but also I'm not sure. So, I think everyone will agree, this is going to be the weirdest game so far in this series, and honestly, it might be the weirdest game we ever see in this series. We are playing a dating sim, and all the text also happens to be in Japanese. And guess who doesn't know a single word in Japanese? Yep, this guy. So let's go through this train wreck of a playthrough together, shall we? So again, since it's in Japanese, I'll use a phone app called Papago to translate the text on screen. I'm totally not faking all this and just taking pics of all my new waifus, trust me. So when you start the game, you're introduced to this guy in a suit, Alfonso. He's some Italian exchange student at the local school. So this is a dating sim, but it's also like a 4-player PvP dating sim. There are 4 guys competing to be the first one to ask a girl to be their girlfriend, or as the game says, ask them for permission. After explaining the game rules, Alfonso will randomly choose one of the girls to be the Nakayoshi Onaku of the game. Basically the one who is already friends with all the players. Whichever is chosen will have a slight positive relationship with every player at the start of the game. For my game, Ayumi was chosen. She asks what kind of person we are, and you can either pick whether you're wild, normal, or cool. I think the girls in the game have a certain preference, so that can help out. Alfonso then gives everyone a random item, and the game begins. So the game's segmented in rounds that have 3 phases in each. In this first phase, it shows an info screen with everyone's stats and position on the board, then you choose your move. You can either choose where to go on the map, look at your inventory, look at conversation topics you've heard, view your calendar, or view info about the girls. Almost always you just choose where to go. So yeah, the map, you can see it in the center of the screen. The 4 corners are each of the players' homes, then there's a bunch of locations you can go to. On the top, you've got the grocery store, the mall, and the Chinese restaurant. Then there's the burger restaurant, the high school, the library, the sports area, and the arcade. Finally on the bottom there's the park and the cafe. So you choose where you want to go, and then it shows everyone moving on the map all at the same time, both the players and all of the girls. I decided to go to the mall because, well, I don't know, I thought I might buy something. Whenever one of the players reaches their destination, it will go to phase 2 of the turn. It shows an image of the place you went to, and then you can choose what you want to do. So like in this instance, player 4 was in the cafe and Ayumi was also there, so he decided to talk to her. The CPU scrolls through the text really fast, so I had no chance to translate it, but I imagine they said something like, "Oh, player 4-san, I hate you, and Thab is the best at this game." Something along those lines, you know? After talking to them, you can either ask them on a date, give them a gift, or leave. If you ask them on a date, you have to consider where they might like to go as well as both of your availabilities. If you get lucky, you may have a girl show up at a location after you do, in which case you can also talk to her. Like here, Makoto shows up at the cafe after player 4. Anyway, since I went to the mall, there's 3 places you can visit there. The info center, the fashion shop, or the CD and bookstore. I had a strong connection to the CD and bookstore because, well, it's just chilling there in English characters, so I just picked that one. Instead of running into one of the girls here, I got one of the game's random events. A bunch of fellow students were here talking. You can talk with them to get certain conversation topics, which basically help you when you're talking to the girls. At the end of your turn, you see a blue and a red meter. The red one represents your Yoshi, or appearance, and the blue one is your Taryoku, or physical strength. Going places and doing things will lower these, however. If you do well in the game, they'll go up. Like if you have a successful conversation with a girl, for instance. You can see how these are affecting you while picking the place you want to go, as your character will have flies around them if they have low Yoshi or look tired if they have low Taryoku. After everyone has finished their move for this round, it goes to the third and final phase of the turn. There's a random chance you'll receive a phone call from someone. It can be one of the girls you have a stronger relationship, or Alfonso if you're kinda sucking. He'll try to help you out. And yeah, that's the gist of how the game works. After this phone call phase, it'll advance to the next round, which will either be afternoon, night, or morning of the next day. So on the next turn, I decided to try my luck at the park. And oh my god, there's a girl here. My character was clearly panicking. I walk up to her and I'm like, "Hi, my name is Thab," and she's like, "Hey, my name is Hana." Then she wouldn't quit talking about food, like some rice ball or something. She was super hungry apparently, cause she just ran off. But then my status bars went up, so it seems like things went well. So then player 4 went on the first date of the match with Ayumi. This is where things get wild. She asked him a question, but since the CPU goes so fast, I couldn't translate it. I'm assuming she asked something like, "How do I look today?" Then there's a prompt where you have 3 choices on what to say and 10 seconds to answer. Player 4 must have said something like, "Ew, cooties," or "You're ugly," because a bunch of blue broken hearts showed up and it played like a really negative sound effect. Oh, she didn't like that. She didn't like that. So we reached the end of round 2 and then, oh my god, my phone is ringing. So I answered, I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about the extended warranty on my car. Oh my god, it's Hana. Hey, wait, I never gave her my number. Hey, how did you get this number? Oh well, let's just see what she wants. She says I better wait outside? What is her problem? Anyway, next turn. It was nighttime now, so I decided to hone my gamer instincts and hit up the arcade. And wouldn't you know it, Hana was there. I think she's stalking me. She goes on about how someone named Natsuki runs the cash register at the local convenience store and she gets money when she's there. Like, is she a thief? Is she stealing from the store? Whatever. These are just light red flags. Like, they're basically pink. Like, come on, we can handle this. Let's ask her out on a date. I asked her to go to the arcade with me tomorrow and she was like, yes. Like, that's what the translation said. It just said yes over and over. So yeah, pretty good night, I'd say. After 3 rounds, the first day is ended and then something new happens. Alfonso will issue like a broadcast thing he calls the Alfonso News. This dude is so full of himself. He like checks in on everyone and sees how we're doing and displays stats of the game. The main thing to pay attention to here is a screen with hearts next to all of the girls. This shows your current relationship strength with everyone, with every girl. Basically, it just gives you insight onto how you're doing and when it's a good time to ask for permission. Alfonso also gives a hint during this, but I didn't pay much attention to it. He'll say like, oh, there's an event happening at the park tonight or something like that. The best part of this screen is when you save your game, because you get to see this cool dancing panda. Like, look at him, dude, he's grooving. I love that thing. So that's a full day of gameplay, and we keep going. A few other things to touch on outside of the gameplay itself is the music and graphics. The graphics in this game are honestly phenomenal. Other than when it goes to the 3D look it does when everyone's moving on the map, like the 2D graphics are just, they are very good. And this was before I had that HDMI modded N64, like it really shows the N64 was capable of amazing 2D stuff. Just everyone was so hyped to try out the hot new 3D tech. Can't say I blame them. And then the music. Whatever you think about this game, like you can't deny it has amazing music. Like I would go look up the soundtrack. It's really good. I was really impressed. And it's definitely not what I expect from a game that seems kind of like a meme to me, but hey, I guess dating sims are more popular in Japan. So now it's the afternoon of day 2 and I went to the arcade to meet up with Hana. When I got there, I instead got another one of the random events you can receive. There's a family standing there who hits you up for conversation, and it's eventually revealed they need some help with some construction. You can either agree to help them or not. If you do, you gain 5k yen, but at the cost of a lot of your Taryoku. I thought that event made me miss out, but then Hana finally showed up, and she was ecstatic to see me, like, oh my god, Thab-chan! She said she's late because her watch is broken. That better be true. I know those other guys are after you too. The date was going amazing, and she was like, oh, I just love this outfit. I got it so cheap. What do you think of it? Uh-oh. I only have 10 seconds to answer, and I don't know how to read. I just panicked, and I picked option 2, which I'm not even joking. It translates to, I don't like it, and it smells bad. Look at that face. Oh god, she hates me. She's like, you have no taste. And then she's like, I gotta go return some videotapes. And just like that, she was gone. Yeah, there's no way that could have gone worse. After that miserable date, I was at my all-time low. My guy was super tired and there were flies flying around my head. I decided to just loathe in my sorrows and stay at home. Doing this can be a good thing though. Since my stats were so low, I decided to bathe, and this drastically raised my yoyushi. Now that I was all cleaned up, I decided to make a visit to the park. That's when something weird happened. Some woman shows up who looks way too old to be in this game. Not sure if my translator was wrong, but my character called her the 8-tree melon. She offered me 10,000 yen for something. Look, lady, you're a bit old, but hey, 10,000 yen is 10,000 yen, right? It like shows hearts all over the screen, and then she gives us the money. Okay, I don't know what this is supposed to be, but these people in the game are high schoolers. Yeah. It's kind of creepy the devs threw this in. Apparently what happens is if you accept her offer, like yes, you get 10,000 yen, but then all the girls in the game learn about what you did, and it lowers their perception of you. Me and Hana were going through some rough times, and after that whole thing at the park, I kinda just wanted to avoid her. So I went back to the arcade to blow off some steam. That's when Meifa showed up. Not gonna lie, she kinda scares me. She's giving me this menacing look, pointing at me like, hey punk, you better work hard out there. I'll try, don't worry. Please don't hurt me. Ah, what the heck, let's pursue this. She said she works hard, so maybe she's at the library. And hey, yes, she is there. Whoa, she's asking me on a date. I thought this was supposed to go the other way around in this game. Hey, I'm not complaining, makes my life easy. Looks like she wants to hang out at the library with me the day after tomorrow. So as you can tell, this game wasn't going too hot for me. I had some time to kill before meeting Meifa at the library, so I went to the cafe. That's where I found Makoto. I decided, what the heck. I picked the yellow heart option, which means you ask her to be your girlfriend. Since I'd never even met her, surely this was gonna work, right? The game like switches to this super intense music, and then it asks you twice if that's really what you want to do. She's like, wow, you're breathing so heavy. So I did it and I told her I liked her. She's like, yeah, I gotta go feed my cat, see you later. And yeah, that was awkward. It like shows you getting zapped by lightning by some evil looking pandas, and yeah, now we know never do that unless you're absolutely sure. Rejection hurts. So one thing I haven't touched on in this game has built into it is minigames, kinda like Mario Party. Hey, it is the same development team after all. Player 4 was talking with Hana when I guess it randomly decided this game needed to happen? I don't know. Basically, you had to defend Hana from 3 other players spawning in people to run towards her. I don't know what the heck this is supposed to represent, it's super weird. There's minigames like that, and then there's another type. If you're at the same location as another player, you can force them to play a minigame against you. This one had you grabbing the mic in a karaoke room to sing as much as possible. Other players try to chase you and try to steal the mic. Whoever sings the most wins. Losing these is awful. If you lose, it ruins your date if you're on one, and they can further punish you by stealing your money, stealing your yoyushi or tairyoku, or breaking up one of their future dates. And yeah, I lost this karaoke one because I didn't know I had to actually press the A button to sing, so yeah, not good. At this point, this game was a lost cause and my stream was near ending anyway. The next day I decided to just start all over. I also decided, since this game is purely text-based and I don't know Japanese, that the language barrier was just too much to overcome. So I looked online for help and I found a fantastic guide on game facts for this game written by Aussie2B. That's where I learned how all the things in this game worked. If the game were in English, I would have worked to learn it on my own, but yeah, the language, it's just too tough on this one. So with a read of this guide, I started up a new match. It seems like it's advantageous to visit the cafe first because a lot of the girls frequent there. And even if none of them are there, you can talk to the bartender to learn where the girls will be. You might think it's weird that this dude knows so much about where these girls are going, but bartenders have the best memory of anyone. Have you ever watched Law and Order? Oh yeah, that girl, she was here 6 months ago. Ordered some Kai tea and said she'd be at the park 6 months and 1 day from now. Anyway, lucky me, Kiero happened to be there. She seemed kinda shy cause she just said Thab and then ran off. But I think that went alright. Someone activated another one of the minigames next turn. This one's just a quiz show where you're asked questions about each girl. Since I can't read Japanese and you only have 10 seconds to answer, this one's basically impossible. It's pure RNG and you have to get 3 correct in a row, so yeah, rip. Later that night I went back to the cafe and wouldn't you know it, Kiero was there again. Figure this is my chance to get something going this game. I asked her to come to the CD and book with me and she said yes. Heck yeah. She's kinda hard to read honestly, like she's just so chill. So next day I went to the CD and book and Kiero actually showed up. I thought she might blow me off, you know? She seemed real happy to see me, then I was presented with a choice. Uh-oh, panic time. The one I picked asked if there's anyone she likes, and thankfully she seemed to like that question. And then she left. She sure doesn't talk much. So I went to the cafe to see the bartender to find out info on Kiero. He said she'd be at CD and Book. Man, she sure likes that place. So we'll head there next turn. And yeah, she is here. Man, the bartender sure knows his stuff. I was like, hey, let's go to the cafe together. And she was all like, okay. And then she just ran off. She's so weird. Before this date, I randomly ran into her at the burger restaurant. So I was like, hey, let's go on another date, you know? She seems to be really into me because she said yes, even though this first date could go horribly. So it was time. I made my way to the cafe and Kiero was there waiting for me. She was like, oh my god, Thab, and then just sat there. I had to think of something to talk about quick. Thankfully, the option I picked said, where do you like to go? And she was like, oh, CD and Book. Yes, it went well again. I'm getting so lucky. After this turn, someone called me. They refused to identify themselves and appeared to be using some sort of voice modulator. They were like,
let's go to the arcade.
I don't know who the heck this was, but it couldn't be Kiero. She wouldn't do this. I was already going on another date with her too. I don't know, all jokes aside, I think it's a problem with the game if it doesn't tell you who's calling. Like, what if it's the person you're trying to pursue? I ended up declining it, and honestly, I still don't know who that was on the phone. Later, I ran into Alfonso at the mall, and he gave me an item. Turns out it can be used to sabotage another player. Not sure what exactly sabotaging them means, but screw you, player 3, get wrecked. Then Kiero showed up for our date, and she was as quiet as ever. God, I'm always having to start the conversation. Luckily, the one I picked asked her what her type was, and she said easy. Wait, what? Okay, Kiero, sure. Honestly, I was getting super lucky with these random choice questions. Also, I learned how the sabotage card ended up working out. Player 3 was supposed to go on a date with Hana, and she was not happy. Not sure what she was on about, but it was something along the lines of, ew, you're gross, get away from me. All according to the plan. Then I got some bad luck because Alfonso wanted me to come to a party with him at the cafe. Unfortunately for me, I had a date with Kiero at the arcade at the same time, but you can't turn down one of Alfonso's parties. I mean, they're the best. He's the coolest, you know, everybody's there. So I went and partied, but I suffered the consequences. Kiero called me and was like, hey, you didn't show up. Not cool. Oh my god, she hates me. There was no alternative. I had to reset the game. Basically, you have the option to save at the end of every third turn, so if things don't go too well for you on a certain day, you can just reset and try again. I have to fix the past. I can't go to Alfonso's party. Another thing that can happen is there's a girl no one wants to run into. It's honestly kind of messed up by the devs, but I guess she's supposed to be the ugly girl that's like desperate to get a boyfriend. I don't know, but basically if you run into her at any point, she starts following you and your relationship with all the other girls drops drastically. Unlucky for player 4. Finally, near the end, I ran into the fourth and final minigame. Basically, it's like some tank battle game where you shoot the other players. This one's really easy to beat the CPU in, and it's probably the most fun one in my opinion. You can definitely see the Mario Party inspiration in some of these minigames. So I met Kiero at CD and Book for another date, but this time something different happened. She was holding out her hand and, hey, isn't that my wallet? She's like, oh, I found this after Alfonso's party. You really didn't think you could get out of this by resetting, right? Aw, crap, she knows. This event couldn't be a coincidence. I felt like it was time. I clicked the yellow heart and I hoped for the best. I was all like, hey, you never really talk, so I honestly have no idea what you're thinking, but I'm gonna be honest, I kinda like you. But she still just stood there in silence, so I was like, Yeah, hey, this is where you say something. But nope, still more silence. Well, this is incredibly awkward. Guess I'll say something like, so, how about that weather we've been having? You watched the big sports game last night? Oh, that seemed to do the trick. A bunch of hearts started popping up and she eventually was like, I like you too. Then it like shows all these flying pandas with trumpets and what the heck is this ending? Then the game immediately cuts to Alfonso News and he's like, whoa, I can't believe one of you actually did it. I thought the four of you were hopeless. I mean, look at you guys. I'm in a suit and I'm super handsome, but hey, well, you proved me wrong. Then it like shows some stats for the game and all the characters congratulate you and they're like, oh my god, I'm so happy for you. Finally it shows an image of Kiro in a different outfit and she's talking and then the credits roll. Apparently there's multiple endings for each girl depending on certain things you do in the game, which gives you different outfits at the end. So if you really enjoy this game, I guess it has lots of replayability. Anyway, game complete. So there you have it, my journey to beating Getter Love. This game, it's kind of weird, but hey, it was an enjoyable experience doing it with chat at least. Can't say it's a game I would just sit down and play by myself, even if it were in English. The language barrier definitely made this a lot more frustrating than it would be though. Overall, the graphics and artwork for the game were pretty spectacular and the music was great. Everything else is just not very fun. The minigames are a nice touch, but they're rare and there's only 4 of them. I guess dating sims are more popular in Japan, but I'm just not into them at all. I hope the video was funny at least. I gave it a 2 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 4 out of 10 for difficulty, mainly due to the language barrier. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, consider giving it a like as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. But yeah, thanks for watching, and here's a sneak peek at what is coming next. So we have 355 games on the list, Yoshi's Story, not last. We could get anything other than something we've already played. 3, 2, 1... 292, we're playing the next South Park game, which is South Park. Okay, we'll see how poorly this is aged.